I'll set up my little thing here.
Music stand?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Oh, where's that little list? Okay. Okay. Here's what we're going to do. So if you want to look it up, I will say these things as we go. If you want to, you can copy these down. So we're starting out with Mary had a baby, as usual. Can you see all that? Is that all right? Okay. And then we'll do a legend, number 10. Surely he hath borne our griefs, number 11. Number 13, Easter song. 15, the blessed hope. And 18, in the last days. And then we'll have supper. Okay. This has been an unusual kind of rehearsal schedule. Um, and I think it will get better. Uh, Charmaine and I ate out at a restaurant last week, and she also had her hair done and in a salon, and we're still alive. So we hope that everything goes there also. Um, we have worked out a um, a guideline based on guidelines, and so if we're allowed to have 250 people at the hall, we know how to do it on October 25th. If we're allowed to have 400 or 800 or nobody, we know how to do it. If the guidelines are so severe, we could do it. I would urge everybody, just kind of in front of that, we're not going to say that yet or give it to you yet or email you anything, but just to tell you that we are trying to be um, working with the health people. And so we want to do that. That's a bad witness if we don't do it. And some churches, now here's a church here in uh, Texas that it's a huge church, and apparently, Doug, they open up the whole thing. Is that right?
Yep.
Yep. And in his church, they're being more cautious. They're allowing people to come, but it's on a sort of a basis where they have to tell them in advance they're going to be there at what service and see if they have a certain uh, amount of people that are allowed to be there. At any rate, uh, I would urge you to look in on the Memorial Day service that was held in Washington, D.C. on that weekend. I believe it was on Sunday night. And I think you can do it on YouTube. And you'll see that they did it all virtually. This thing that they do every year, they have thousands of people there seated on the grass. And then they have a whole symphony orchestra. They have a big choir. Oh, it's several choirs and herald trumpets and everything, which they do usually every year. We love to watch it. This year we watched, and it was even better. And this is what they did: they would put a few orchestra members on the platform, and then they had a um, soundtrack behind them, and it sounded like the full orchestra, but visually they just had a few. And they did that with the choir. They did it with soloists and this whole thing. It can be done, and I want to tell you, you're going to love it. Look at it, and what I'm saying is, no matter what, we could do this concert on October 25th. I personally feel it's important that we do it this year. If it's if they ban me at the state border, okay, that's one thing. But we can do this. And so we're going to prepare as though we're going to do it. And it is the way we worked it. I will send it out to you. You can take a look at it. A couple of people have seen it, and we'll send it to you. Okay. Now, first of all, we're going to do Mary Had a Baby. Oh, what else? Okay. Yeah, it's always the first one. And if you'll remember that what you have to do is you have to have pitch memory, sopranos, everyone, from Holy, 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 which is number 2 on the program. And then we do a cappella. We start with the sopranos on Mary Had a Baby. The note is G natural, second line. The sopranos will be somewhere higher, doing the obligato, but everyone else will be doing the melody. And what I'm going to do is play the CD. I've set it up. I think it'll work right exactly where we are. The last 2 measures of number 2, Holy, Holy, Holy. The first note is your note when you start Mary Had a Baby. This is another way of doing it, okay? So um, let's see what happens. I won't be able to hear you or see you or point a finger at you or applaud you or anything, but let's see if you can do it. Listen to these last 2 measures and see if you can sing the first note of Mary Had a Baby. All right? Okay, here we go. Okay, sing it. If you sing Mary had a baby, then you'd be right. Should I make this a G? Okay, that would have been right. But at any rate, that's what you must do. Now you'll have all the time, everybody will be applauding madly after your rendition of Holy, 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 and you'll have time. Someone will have the note and you can pass it along to one another, but you've got to come in a cappella. Now, let's do it this time this way. Let's do it straight through with the CD. This is so Charmaine, if you want to play along with it, that's fine. But we're going to do the orchestra and everything. So we're going to start, and I'll yell out who's singing what where. Okay? Here we go. Okay. Yeah, this is just as good. This is the second time through of Holy, Holy, Holy. Okay. I'll sing along with you, probably on the tenor most of all, but see how you do. Then we'll go over what changes we're making. Da, 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 da. Soprano. Had a baby, my Lord. Had a baby. Oh, Mary had a baby. Tenor and bass. Where was he born? Oh, alto. Mary had a baby. Okay, and solo. King Jesus, King Counselor, King Emmanuel, mighty God, everlasting God. And sopranos. Down, 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 down. How do you stop this thing? Okay. All right. Now, that's just to give you an idea of the entire thing. Now, what I like to do is the same basic thing, but now with the piano. And if you have a question, if you'd like to go over a certain part or whatever, let's do that. But by this time now, you should understand what we're trying to do with this piece. Uh, I do so a lot of talking, a lot of philosophizing, but every piece of music has an identity. Every piece of music is going somewhere. Uh, it bores me to tears to hear a group just simply read and sing what's on the paper. There's much more to it. And even before I was looking at it this morning, um, the composer, William Dawson, even shows you where to breathe. There's little apostrophes. So they're in different places depending on who has the conversational phrase. I'm looking, for instance, um, at the bottom of the first page. Notice that the altos have a breathing place after the third beat. E natural. My Lord, oh Mary. So follow that as well. Dynamics and things that we're adding, spaces and we're adding, all this sort of thing. Do exactly what Dawson wants, and I'll try to do that as well. Okay, let's go from the beginning with the piano, starting with the sopranos. You've already found your note. Okay, here we go. Soprano start. Everybody's going to sing this time. Go. Mary had a baby, my Lord. My Lord, Mary had a baby, my Lord. Oh, Mary had a baby. Oh, you have to play louder, right? Oh, wait, let's do that again. Yeah, really pound it out. It doesn't have to be subtle. Okay, from the beginning, soprano start. Mary had a baby, my Lord. My Lord, oh, Mary had a baby. Alto. Oh, Mary had tenors. Oh, Mary had a baby. Men. Where was he born? Born in the manger. Louder, honey. Where was he born? Born in the. Okay, now. Right, okay. Now, we always have the choir set up. We did it in quartets. So I'd love to do it for this concert. That would be a tremendous help in recording it. I'd like to record it, and we have to maybe if we do it virtually. But at any rate, you always look for tuning places. And one of those is right there at the bottom of page 4, sopranos and altos. Circle the soprano and alto. Okay, just where it says born, 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 the octave. You can tune there at that particular point. When I set up a choir, I like to have the basses next to the sopranos. Not because the bassist likes sopranos, but they do. But the idea is you're tuning to the octave where the piece ends usually. So that's the reason for it. And we have the tenor and the altos, and they like each other. So they're doing these middle harmony parts. Okay. At any rate, this is how you help tune an a cappella choir. Listen for a cappella octaves, if you will. Let's start on page 4 where the tenors and basses come in. Remember, tenors, you're going to help on the at the octave with the basses, okay, on the third measure. Where was he born? And then we go on. Ready? Okay, those men now go. Where was he born? Everybody now. Born in the manger. You see where I am? Yeah, yeah. Blah, 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 blah. Okay? Once again. Okay, here we go. Man. Where was he born? Born in the manger. Where was he born? Born in the manger. Oh, Mama Mary, born in the altos. Oh, Mary had a baby. The soprano solo. What did they call? Now watch it now. One. King Jesus. See, I'm not there to see if you do it right. It's the same thing. King Jesus. Okay? Put a good strong NG. I'm directing it myself. I'm doing it right. I don't know if you were. Let's have the everybody on King Jesus. You sure I am? Okay, ready? One. King Jesus. Hang on. King. No, 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 no. I'll bring you in, Hank. They have another King Jesus. Same thing again. Top of page 5, last measure. King. Okay, ready? One. King Jesus. King Jesus. Okay, now when I direct, I love to direct the beginnings of words and the ending of words, and also all that happens in the middle. So I want to direct the whole thing. Now remember, this must be memorized. What? Memorized? Yes. This piece memorized. All the rest, you can hold your music in front of your head. Okay. But on this one, I want it really good. If a connoisseur of a cappella music comes, I want him or her to enjoy this experience. So it's got to be every one of us doing exactly the same thing. It doesn't matter if I'm directing or someone else is directing, whoever that is, follow that direction and we all do it together. That's part of the choral art is doing it all together, exactly together. All right? Okay, you agree. Let's start with Anne on the solo. What did they call him? And again, Sean, bring it up, bring it up. Okay, okay, Anne, here you go. What did they call him? Watch. King Jesus. No, play her part. Oh, yeah, yeah. Play. You've got to play everything. Okay. Okay. Once again, start again. And go. What did they call him? Right? King Jesus. And King Jesus. Oh, ooh, good. Change the chord. Da, da. Okay. All right. Whenever you have a background, an ooh, a hum, or whatever, uh, continue. Sneak a breath. They teach in uh, college. The singers can do that. You notice at the last concert 2 years ago, uh, the the soprano soloist did a real wonderful job, and she did the part of Mary. And there was a place where she had to hold a note very, very long at the end of one of the pieces. I'm not sure which it was. And so she was able, she had been taught by her professor to sing the note and take a catch breath in the middle of it. I'm not a singer in that sort, but it's you just do it and get it back in there again. And hopefully, not we could say, okay, uh, here's your letter A. Everybody, you sing and take a breath here, and the B, there are B. Well, this is confusing, but every alternate the breathing. But at any rate, that should all be together. Let's take the last measure of page 5 on ooh. Okay, can you get just do the sopranos and altos? Ooh, G and E. Page 5. That's it. Okay, and you have to play the notes louder so they hear them. Okay, on ooh, I'll sing alto. Expressos, altos. Okay, ooh. Change it. Change it. That's it. Okay. Once again, and a place to avoid is on page 6, second measure. Don't breathe there. That's where everybody runs out of air. That's boring. Just you have to breathe. Uh, you know, the music stays keep on going. So that's a good place not to breathe. All right. Once again, ladies. Okay. Nice and strong, Sharp. Here we go. Go. Okay, and there's a tough little accents. There's a sforzando, piano, things like that sort. I'm not going to be too strict about that, but notice that's what Dawson wants. And of course, he had a choir of 65, 67, 70, and we don't quite have that. But it's what we have to work on. Let's have the tenors and basses, same places. Bottom of page 5, tenor and bass. Okay, ready, go. That's right. Yeah, there's a baritone thing that happens there. Page 6, second measure. Okay, yeah. The basses, if bass can hit that low note, then fine. All right, once again, go. Okay, everybody, last measure. See, we spend a lot of time on this ooh, but really, it's important to you can do it all right. Okay, get your pitches, everybody. Yeah, play their pitches. Go ahead. Okay, ready, go. All right, well, okay. Let's go on. We spend all day doing this stuff. Let's go on to page 6 at the bottom where we stopped. Okay, now everybody has unison in the first measure. Sopranos, you come in the second part. Alto, tenor, and bass start. He is called King Jesus. Go. He is called King Jesus, mighty counselor, King Emmanuel, mighty God. Now that's the place. There's going to be a break. There's going to be a break. I'll direct it. Let's go back again. Tenors on the third bar. you're going to have to go a little higher because you're not going to do soprano. I'll tell you what, you have tenor and soprano sing and stop at the bottom of page 6. You understand the last line of page 6. That's all we want to hear. Ready to go. Soprano a little later. Here comes the tenor now. He is called King Jesus, soprano and tenor, mighty counselor, King Emmanuel. All right, that's what it is. It's an E and a D. Play the E for the tenor. King Emmanuel. Da, 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 da. Got it? Okay. Tenor start. He is called King Jesus, mighty counselor, King Emmanuel, mighty God, everlasting Father. Okay, good. Now, let's have the alto only, bottom of page 6. Hey, you're doing great on this. Everybody, you're getting all those tight little chords, which add to it. This is what Dawson wanted. He added this part to the spiritual, and it just builds and builds and builds and builds, and he gets these tight little chords going, and it's beautiful. Let's have the alto and the tenor. Alto and the tenor. Ready to go. Go. He is called King Jesus, mighty counselor, King Emmanuel. Now, let me show you something. You acapella people, the note for the altos in the second bar is the same note the tenors are going to sing one measure later. So let's do this. I'd like to have just the altos sing the first 2 measures and then only the tenors do the next measure. Is that too confusing? Okay, let's try altos now. He is called King Jesus. Go. He is called King Jesus, altos, mighty counselor, King Emmanuel. Yeah, don't play the alto, just play the tenor. Okay, once again, I'll try to do it in your octave. The altos. Ah! I don't know. Okay, here we go. He is called King Jesus, mighty counselor, King Emmanuel. You got tenors? Okay, all right. Let's go back again. All right, let's have alto and tenor starting this whole thing. Okay, I hear myself on the tape.
I'm trying to mess with
We got a recalcitrant technician here. Not really. I never heard a mean word out of this guy's mouth. Ever. His whole church has never heard one. He just has been blessed with a sweet personality. So you won't get him mad whatever you do. Okay? Here we go. Alto and tenor. Go. He is called King Jesus, mighty counselor, King Emmanuel, mighty God. Okay, now this time we're going to do alto and tenor. And yeah, alto and tenor only. Okay, and just keep on going this time. Maybe we just should do alto. I think maybe it's a little confusing for you. Okay, let's have the altos only. Play it strong. Go. He is called King Jesus, mighty counselor, King Emmanuel, mighty God. Yeah, see, there's a solo line which is confusing. It's just a solo line, so they're down here. Okay. Once again, this is just alto. Let's make it alto and soprano. Okay. Here we go. Alto. He is called King Jesus, mighty counselor. Careful. King Emmanuel, mighty God, everlasting Father. All right, good. Now let's have everybody bottom of page 6. Raise piano real nice and loud. Go. He is called King Jesus, mighty counselor, King Emmanuel, mighty God, everlasting Father. Okay, now it says hum, but mark ooh. Everybody's going to sing ooh. Okay, and as a matter of fact, uh, sopranos, you're on the second line now. Mark the word melody. You have the melody. The soloist just has a little icing on the cake. Prince of Peace. That's all it is. Just a little icing on the cake. Da 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 da. Soprano, sing that. Ooh. Ooh. That's it. Okay. We're going to start, please. Where should we start? Let's start on that measure. Page 7, 1, 2, third bar. And to Prince. Okay, go. No, 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 no. The last measure. Page 7, the top line, last measure. You got it? That's it. Okay. Okay, go. Go on. Soprano. My yeah, there's so much to this. We could spend the whole time on this, but we made some progress today on that. Okay, let's go on to the next piece. Before we do that, turn to number 9, and that's the Jubilate and plus the dance. We're running out of time. Sounds funny. This is June, and we're running out of time. The program's in October. The whole thing's weird to me. Anyway, uh, so as I kind of envision this, like we're having this in-depth practice on Mary Had a Baby, that we can't do all of it. So uh, the number 9 is a dance. Actually, there's a dance company, 8 girls, young girls, and the actor who's playing the part of the leper, and he's healed, and they all do this dance, and it's for choir and orchestra, but we're just going to do it minus the choir, so you can sit there and enjoy it. So we don't have to worry about learning that. So as you're practicing, uh, mark on the front of it where it says Jubilate and Benedictus. Okay, just put no choir. But it doesn't mean we're eliminating it from the program. Okay, understand? Good. Any questions? If you have one, send me a chat. All right, number 10, a legend. Okay, now this particular piece extends my theory on choirs can be different personalities, and choirs within their own singing have to be aware of who's speaking. Is it a nice person? Is it a bad person? He trusted in God that He would deliver him, let Him deliver him from the Messiah. That's a jeering crowd taunting Christ on the cross. And so it's traditionally done in a brittle tone from the choir. It can be overdone, but you always have to think in terms of, all right, now is this a pretty statement? Is this what is it? And so before we do anything, let's take a look at this and see who's singing. And you might even write it down. Okay. Uh, Before you start, mark this also. Write introduction, just intro will work. Orchestra, four measures. Okay, so we're going to do it with the stringed orchestra. And this is going back to this health guidelines thing. It'll work for on this thing. We could have just the string section. That's all it's playing. We could put them and have them video streaming or whatever you do the thing, Doug. I don't know, Doug. And then have the choir or part of the choir and however we do this. Now you think, oh, they're just going to play, just going to video a few people. Well, yes and no. These will be close-ups. So you get four people maybe. Wow, they're going to see how handsome you are, tenors, and how beautiful you are, sopranos and altos. They're going to, check you out and whatever. So you will be seen, even if we have no audience. As a matter of fact, you'll be seen better because when we have the full thing, you're way in the back of the stage, and so you can kind of hide behind somebody. Okay. Any rate, let's look who's singing. There's a narrator, obviously, from the beginning. Christ, when a child, a garden made, and many roses flourished there. He watered them 3 times a day. Now, notice it is Christ as a child. That's important. Now, we're not going to try to be childish as we sing, but thinking in terms of, um, the rest of his life, we just, the legend, this story is just symbolic of the passion. And when we get to page 2, and when in time the roses bloomed, again the narrator, but I'd like you to write there legato, Legato, which means, many of you know, as smoothly. If you'll notice in the inner parts, the alto and the tenor particularly have this lovely flowing thing. And so that's the idea is the roses have come into bloom. They are blooming. I don't know how far you want to take your imagination on this, but for me, okay, we talked about Christ is made a garden. He put roses and he started roses. All right, now they've come to bloom. And we have this flow of parts. Tchaikovsky was a genius. Just a beautiful setting of things moving and things alive and whatever. Okay. Then the bottom of page 2, we have the narrator would change his or her voice. What happened? I mean, you had all this beautiful. A contrast is extremely important in drama. And our friend Karen, are you here, Karen? Maybe you could type me a little chat. Uh, but it's when you know something is, you put a contrast, a good and evil, and that's what I think that this whole world is in right now. It's a contrast in good and evil. That's my opinion. At any rate, there is a contrast here, and we have these children, instead of enjoying and perhaps receiving a rose, they tore it all up. Okay, and so it's a different dynamic. And how do you do this? Well, it's pianissimo. How do you do it? Pianissimo. Well, you overpronounce. They tore the flowers from every stem, every single consonant coming out. That's the beauty of English, that you have all these consonants that you can do. And left the garden stripped. Now, I'd like to have a break after that. Stripped and bare. Okay, you got that so far? Now, notice there are quotes around the words in the next section. How wilt thou weave thyself a crown? The tenors, and I really would love to have the basses join them if they would do that, because that's the most important part. E natural, honey. How wilt thou weave thyself a crown? Now, without getting overly how do you do it? It's a subtle business. It requires um, you you don't mock it by doing it too much, but too little is boring. How with the weak, just your voice has a bit of an edge to it, and you are not just a narrator. You are singing it as part of the children making fun of him. Oh, right now, uh, you see what's happened here. And you see the whole drama that's going on? Okay, extremely important. Tchaikovsky was a genius. Now that the roses all are dead, with a good strong D. Page 4. Who sings? This is the Christ child. Okay? And notice a subtle little business, everybody, that on Forgotten, it doesn't have the same rhythm it had. He elongates it. Ye have forgotten. You would expect. Ye have forgotten. No. Ye have forgotten that the thorns are left for me, the Christ child said. Okay. Then it goes on, and the narrator picks it up. They platted, and it's platted. I believe I've looked at it. It's sort of like PLA short, uh, platted. Then a crown of thorns, and laid it rudely on his head. Softer, a garland for his forehead made, for roses drops of blood instead. And the most important part of this next section is the bass part. B. Of blood, of blood instead. I don't believe I'm stretching the imagination on this. I believe that what Tchaikovsky had in mind was the blood, the dropping of blood. It is blood instead. Dun, dun. Okay, that's what I believe, and I would like to do that. Everybody, okay, just bring your voices down and listen to the basses. All right, that's the whole idea. Now let's play it, and we'll sing it, and well, let's try singing it, and then we'll play it. Okay, Charmaine. Okay, now there'll be 4 bars, and then you'll with the orchestra after that. Here we go. Go. Christ when a child, a garden made, and many roses flourished there. He watered them 3 times a day to make a garden for his head. Nice and smooth. And when in time the roses bloomed, he called all children into shed. They tore the flowers from heaven's and left the garden. Amen. Yeah, it's uh, it's a real witness. This is peace. It's just one of those things. One of my good friends. I hope John Rubright is there. Many times after one of these sessions, he uh, sends me an email, and we talk about various parts of peace that meant something to him and to me, and that just now was a blessing. Okay, let's start there. See what, and then again, my penchant for directing is what's the sense? What's the sense of a director? The director doesn't keep the beat. He's supposed to. but it's no, that's not what's important. The important is, uh, do you believe that person? Is he interpreting it? And careful. I had wonderful, wonderful mentors, and I've talked about them before. But every note that they directed, every word they directed, you believed that's what he believed. And so this is the same thing. So uh, even I can't even tell you this in the when we do this on October 25th, then I can't tell you. I might do this and that's an M. I don't know how that became an M, or do this and that's an N, or that's a D, or whatever, whatever. Just watch and be ready to do it. Um, they tore the flowers from every stem. Where do you put the M? Is the M important? Okay, let's start. Charmaine, and again, even though it's penis, but play it strongly. They tore. This is the last measure of page 2. Everybody, bum, 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 bum. Okay, they tore. They tore the flowers from every stem and left the garden stripped and bare. Now here we go, tenor. How wilt thou reap thy sepulchre now that the roses are dead? Ye have forgotten that the thorns are left for me, the Christ said. Let's go on. They flatten them a crown of thorns and laid it on his head. The golden boy is born, and large drops of instead of blood instead. Okay, as we go through this, how many more rehearsals? I don't know. It adds up to about 4 or 5. Um, we're just going to go into this thing. I urge you to listen to the CD and to go over all these things that we've talked about. Okay, now let's do that with the CD now. I'll try to find. Is that 10? Yeah. Okay. Here we go. He watered them, doves to make a garden for his hand. And when it all altos, bass, I'm watching to shine. Okay, now watch it pronounce. While the M and left the garden stripped. And now tenors. How will the sepulchre now that the roses are red? That the are left for me, the Christ said. stop. Okay. Good. Good work. Okay, let's go on. Um, Number 11. Okay. Um, Charmaine, you have that. It has that, and it also has the whole. I found. Where did it go? Um, let's see. I should keep you in mind. Oh, that's really cool. Well, it's another copy of the choral part. Um, all right. I'll tell you what. Let's just go from the beginning of this, and we'll talk about it. And we'll do it with the CD, and then we'll go over parts of that. So we're getting to the point. Well, I we need to have a good overview so that when you're practicing, there'll be a quartet test in 2 months. Uh, well, no, I'd like to have one. How many people like quartet tests? And to have a quartet test when you memorize it. Oh boy, those were fun. All right. Um, so this is surely he hath borne our griefs, and I'd like to talk about this as a musicologist. Uh, that Handel was a genius. All of these composers, I cannot fight with any of them. They're just amazing. Now you say, "Oh, the Hallelujah chorus, yeah, well that was great." Yes, it was, and everybody stood at the inaugural performance. Yes, they did. But there are pieces in the Messiah which are little known or less known, but are amazing pieces. And this is one of them. All right. So now this has to do with the Passion of Christ. And it begins, as if it makes a difference to you, begins in F minor. Minor is a means it's usually sad. It's usually more words than that because it's strong and but it's somber and it's whatever. It's not happy. Okay, so he begins this way. Surely, surely he hath borne our griefs and carried our sorrows. Surely, surely he hath borne our griefs and carried our sorrows. Now, at letter A, going on, I guess I should go back to the beginning. This is, though that were very interesting, is a French introduction. This is apparently the way they did a lot of things. The whole Messiah starts with this kind of a introduction, and it's actually done in 8 beats per measure, as you'll hear it in the CD and Charmaine play. Uh, the the direction looks like this. The director directs the standard 2, 3, 4, but to show you, and that again, that's the whole purpose of the director, is to show the performers what is meant by the composer and the text. So so the direction will be what called subdivided 4, which is actually 8 beats. So instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, you're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, all during this section. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Surely, surely, he hath borne our griefs and carried our sorrows. Surely. And then, ah, I think of a choir member, a dear friend of mine in the church choir. he tried to make a joke out of it. When are we going to sing Shirley, Shirley? And so I didn't do that in front of him, but I just thought in my soul, oh my goodness, he's missing it. It's that word surely is so important. It's true. This is what happened. And so that as a singer, you have to just know that Handel said it that way. Okay, so we're in minor, we're in 8 beats. Okay, very strong pulsating. Then we come up to letter A. Altos start the beat before, and then I'm going to direct in 4, but the same tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4, because that's what Handel does. It's the same, exactly the same. Instead of da, 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 it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Why? Well, look at the words. He was wounded for our transgression. So it's a matter of strong, your strength. There's vitalness. There's what's the word? I'm just struggling for words right now, but it's different. So he does this section differently. It's very slow. Then we get to letter B, and it comes back. The chastisement of his peace was upon him. It's all jumbled up there. At any rate, and this is the trick. At B, it becomes A flat major. Now, for the musicians in the outfit, that means it's gone from sad to happy. And as we believe, it's heaven is a happy place. Uh, it is eternity, and it's a reason for it. We believe certain things, and we believe that all of these were purposed, that God knew what he was doing, and this is going to be a victory. The chastisement was upon us. It's still these awful, sad, and purposeful words, but still it becomes a strength of joy. And so when we sing this, it is a matter of being in it. First of all, it's surely, that's the main word. That's the main word. And this happened. And then you come back into a more restful thing, but still in minor key, and still it's like a transition. And then all once the chastisement, in other words, it's marching music. The chest, just like soldiers marching to a war, knowing that they're going to win. And this is how I feel about this. So you have sad, you have pensive, and you have victory. All in these few measures. It's absolute genius, is what it is. Okay, now we're going to start at the beginning of this. We'll try to get it, and then we'll work on it a little bit. Okay, you ready? This is number 11. This is the orchestra. Surely, surely, he has borne our griefs and carried our sorrows. Surely, surely, he has borne our griefs and carried our sorrows. Altos. Everybody? Tenors. Wait. Here we go back again. You should be worn out. You should be. I remember at Charmaine and I were at a church in Chicago. We served many, many churches. Thank the Lord. It's been pretty beautiful. And it was more of an informal church, interdenominational. And we did The King is Coming. Remember that? In Homewood. And I told the choir before, leave it all out on the field. Do it all. Put your whole self into this piece. And they were very dutiful, and they were bushed when it was over. The king is coming. The king is coming again. Oh no, okay. And it was great. And this informal sort of church, and so they all applauded afterwards, which would be a no-no in a lot of places, but they did it. And then the pastor got up and said, "Do it again." Ah! We just died because we had left it all out in the field. So it was a little bit less of a strength on the second one. But this is one of those pieces. Leave it all out on the field. The orchestra is going to be fantastic. We will have tubas and bassoons and strings and brass and timpani and the whole thing. And it's just going to be a fantastic piece of music. Let's see what kind of time we have here. Okay.
About 5 after 2.
5 after 2. Okay, we'll start. So it's 5 after. Okay, we'll start time. All right, tell you what. Let's not leave it. Let's go just do sopranos, sopranos only. Okay? Everybody's just kind of relax a little bit. Sopranos only from the beginning. Charmaine, and play their part nice and loud. Okay? You see where I am? Oh, you don't have it. See, that's the part I needed from you. Okay. I guess I can find it. Here we are. Okay, just a second, everybody. Okay, use this. And I'll try to find my score. Okay. Okay. I'll work on the full score. Okay. Okay. Okay, sopranos and altos. Well, where are you? Soprano and alto. Here you go. You got it, ladies? Ready? Go. Surely, surely, hey, upon our knees and carry us home. Surely, surely, he hath borne our griefs and carried our sorrows. Right, okay. tenor and bass. And altos and tenors, altos and sopranos, you can hum along or whatever you want to do, or sing it again. But she's just going to play tenor and bass at where you commit. Basses. Tenor. Go. Surely, surely, hang upon our graves, uncovered our sorrows. Surely, surely, upon our graves, uncovered our sorrows. Good. Let's go back again. This time, bass, tenor, and alto. They have your notes, alto, da, da, da. Okay. Okay, here we go. Way and surely, surely, upon our graves, uncovered our sorrows. Surely, surely, upon our graves, uncovered our sorrows. All right, good. Everybody all together. And Charmaine, how about playing the regular accompaniment this time? Okay. So you have this instead. Where do they come? What's the, probably here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Boom. Right there. Ready? That's it. Okay, so you listen to Charmaine as she plays. Here we go. Ba 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 ba. 2. Ready? Go. Surely, surely, be upon our graves, uncovered our sorrows. Surely, surely, be upon our graves, uncovered our sorrows. Okay, good, good. Okay, that'll give you an idea of how it goes and how to practice it and whatever. Let's see. Michelle says I'm late, but here I'm a Wendy. I'm a Hondo groupie. Always have been. Okay, those are all good comments. Nice to have you here, Michelle. And I'm a groupie too. All right, let's go on to the next one. And we're going to do number 13, which is Easter song. Is that right? Yeah, Easter song. Is that the next one on your list?
Easter song?
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's listen to it and sing along with it. We did this 2 years ago. All right. And so we really shouldn't have to work too hard on this. All right. Hang on. All right. Now, before we start on the Easter song, the there's a singer. She played the part of Elizabeth 2 years ago, and Xana Fredlin is her name, and she'll be doing a part of Mary Magdalene in this, and so she's a witness to the resurrection. And so she will be doing a solo prior to this, and then she will sing the first time through on Easter song. We will have bells and orchestra and the whole thing, but the second time is when you do it. So just write that in for yourself. Two times, first time solo. Okay, so she's done, and now we'll start right where the bells come in, and then we'll read. Okay, and if you okay, you're done. Ring the root that we can be born again. In the bells ringing, the singer Christ is risen from the dead. The angel upon the tombstone said he is risen, just as he said. Quickly now, go tell his disciples that Jesus Christ is no longer dead. Joy to the world, he is risen. Alleluia, he's risen. Alleluia, he's risen. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Good. Okay. I'm not going to go over this just to kind of remind you of what's happening. Uh, I like to save the handbills, and rather than having a table for them, I'd like to have the handbills. I don't know if Lynn, if you were there, Lynn DeVelka, um, that they would be standing on in choir positions and also ringing the bells that they have. We just would simplify the whole thing, but the whole thing circles around the bells, obviously. You hear the bells ringing. And so we'd like to have that. So the first time through, we might use the bells, but certainly the second time through, we would have it. So Mary Magdalene and the whole choir would sing that. All right, let's go on. 13. What's next? I don't have that. Some of them have in my list.
Blessed hope.
Okay, Blessed Hope, and that's what, number 15?
Yes.
Okay, number 15, Blessed Hope. Okay. Okay, that's good. Okay, let's just do it. We've been at this music since 1974. The first concert of Royal Way was 1974. Good grief, how long ago is that? And but one of the first things was that the first thing we did, Sharp, was the Jesus is Coming.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So this piece we sang in 1974, and we believed all this is true. The name of the cantata is Jesus is Coming. And you may be wondering why I'm so adamant about this, trying to get this concert in this year. As I wrote to one of the board members, I wrote that we don't know if there's going to be a 2021 or not. We just don't know. All the prophecies have been there. So I don't want to be someone that prognosticates the end of the world, but it could be, as we know. It could be. And all of these weird things that are going on, if there isn't a riot, it's something else. And everybody, there's hatred. And man, that doesn't make sense to us. Charmaine and I were privileged to be part of a ministry. Uh, Perhaps you didn't know this, or maybe you did. The Catherine Kuhlman Ministry in Pittsburgh. And I was privileged to be the director of that music the last year of her life. Charmaine was the assistant organist for 7 years with them. And we had a beautiful, beautiful choir of people, not professionally trained, but spiritually trained. And it was half white and half black. And nobody thought a word about it except that was a spiritual brother, that was a brother in the Lord, that was a sister in the Lord. And that's the way it was. And I believe it still is in the Christian church. And I don't want to belabor this, but that's what we believe. And we believe when things are righted, when the Lord rights things, it will be exactly like that again. I will see those wonderful people again. And can't wait. Okay. Now, this is the first number of the second half of the program. And let's see if we can remember it. Some of you will remember having sung it in 1974. Oh boy. Okay, here we are. And Charmaine, if you let's just place through. Okay, here we go. Go ahead. Oh, I see where you are. Do you have the score? Okay, she'll just play your part. Okay, here we go. Bum, 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 tenor. Okay. But I would not have you to be ignorant, brethren, concerning them which are asleep, that ye sorrow not, even as others which have no hope. For if we believe that Jesus died and rose again, even so them also which sleep in Jesus will God bring with him, will God bring with him. Letter A, and for this we say unto you by the word of the Lord, that we which are alive and remain unto the coming of the Lord shall not precede them which are asleep. Our change of pace now. 1, 2, 3. For the Lord himself shall descend from heaven with the shout, with the voice of the archangel, and with the trump of God. 2 and 3. And the dead in Christ shall rise first, and we which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air, and so shall you be with the Lord. So shall we ever be with the Lord, forever be with the Lord. Okay, good. Let's see if I can find that, and we'll do it one more time with the CD, and we'll move on to main piece. For today. Okay, let's see. That's number 15, or is it 14 on the thing? Here, this is, yeah, that's right. Okay, hang on. Okay. Ignorant brethren, concerning them which are asleep, that ye sorrow not, even
others which have no hope. For if we believe that Jesus died and rose again, even so them also which sleep in Jesus will God bring with him, will God bring with him.
A.
For this we say unto you by the word of the Lord, which thunders to God, and remain unto the coming of the Lord, shall not precede them which are asleep. The Lord himself shall return from heaven with the shout, with the voice of the archangel, trump of God, and the dead in Christ shall rise first. Then we which are alive and remain that will caught up together with them in the clouds to meet our Lord in the air. And so shall we ever be with the Lord. So shall we ever be with the Lord. Forever be with the Lord.
Good. Okay. Just, I'm thinking that if any family members have passed away, you know where they are, and they're going to be with the Lord. They are there, and they will be coming with you. I believe this with all my strength and heart. Amen. Okay, one more, and then that is it. In the last days, number 18. Okay. uh, this is one of those things. Uh, we are in the last portion. We're going to take it into this century and our witness to the world. And again, you say, well, why does Lee have to have it this year? Next year, we should do, all the health thing will be in place and all the guidelines, and everything points to 2021. Yeah, right. My feeling is we need this now. And people need to hear it now. They need it. We've done these pieces. We did a thing called Day of Judgment at Heinz Hall and also Carnegie Hall. And again, had to do. We're doing some pieces on the program like that, and it has to do with final things as we know it. I was watching a rerun of Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? We found it on Light TV here in Texas. And we loved it when they were doing it 20, 30 years ago, whenever that was. But one of the questions has to do with the Milky Way. How many stars are in the Milky Way, which is the name they give to our galaxy? And is it more than 2,000? And so Charmaine and I are batting it around. You give a chance with the contestant to think about, okay, what is it? How much is it? This is just one galaxy, folks, in the universe. What did you guess? 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 10,000? What did you guess? How many stars? There are over 200 billion stars in the Milky Way. And we're worried about this and we're worried about that and all this kind of stuff on this little ball that's rolling around. this planet. But if we get ourselves obsessed and with that, without thinking of God and what He has in mind, even say He, oh, forgive me. But the feminists will get mad. Well, how do you know it's He? Well, Jesus called Him a Father. The Bible, all through the Psalms, He. But the feminists use it. You get this thing going. I'm not against feminists. I'm against nothing except I'm for God. And I believe it behooves us. I love that word. Behooves us to do what we can. And if it's doing something this year, somehow, some way, figure out a way to do it. All right. Now on this piece, we saved it for last because it's near the end. And this is in the Bible. It talks about what is going to happen and what's going to happen with the people. Look at the words. Perilous times shall come. Men shall be lovers of themselves. Men shall be lovers of themselves. Covetous boasters, proud blasphemers, disobedient to parents. I can hear our friend Karen Muir speaking these words. We talk about this often. Covetous boasters, disobedient to parents. Okay, on it goes. Without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent fierce. Truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent fierce. On it goes, and it repeats itself. And it has all kinds of fun that we can talk about, and we can take 2 more hours on. Okay, let's play it and do the best you can. I'll sing along, and you do the best you can now. We'll work on some parts. Okay. Yeah, that's right. But the CD's different. Okay, you ready? In the last days, perilous times shall come. Men shall be lovers of themselves. Men shall be lovers of themselves. Ladies, covetous boasters, proud blasphemers, disobedient to parents. Covetous boasters, proud blasphemers, disobedient to parents. Covetous boasters, proud blasphemers, disobedient to parents. Unthankful and holy, with natural affection. Truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent fierce. Breakers, false accusers, incontinent fierce. Despisers of those which are good. See, in the last days, perilous times shall come. Men shall be lovers of themselves. Men shall be lovers of themselves. Traitors and high-minded lovers of pleasure more than lovers of God. Traitors and high-minded lovers of pleasure more than lovers of God. Traitors and high-minded lovers of pleasure more than lovers of God. Having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. We're learning we're able to come to the knowledge of the truth. Never learning and never able to come to the knowledge of truth.
the knowledge of the truth.
F. In the last days, perilous times shall
men shall be lovers of themselves. Men shall be lovers of themselves. In the last days, in the last days, in the last days.
Okay. Oh boy. All right. Just a couple things to look out for, and then we'll close. Um, there's again, this is a thing where you extend yourself and you take the part of a scoffer. There's a part one person's going to have. We're not sure how that's going to work out at this particular point, but it's going to be believing, this not believing as we do, and their worldview is completely different, and so how we contrast that dramatically, we're working on that. But at any rate, if you look at, please, on page 2 at measure 37, I like to have all the ladies sing this. Altos, if you can't do the high note in measure 40, that's okay. Just sing it down an octave or whatever you have to do. But mainly, it's a child's yeah, 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 that sort of thing. So it's not pretty at all. It's got to stick out. That's really what I believe the composer had in mind. By the way, this piece, a lot of these pieces didn't have orchestral accompaniment. I wrote that. I hope they don't get mad at me. I have to get permission to do it now. But at this particular thing, we'll have all kinds of oboe plays and some instruments like that. But at any rate, Charmaine, you see where I am at measure 37? You have that on. Okay, maybe. This is before. Do you have a letter C? Can you find a C?
No.
Oh, you're in the wrong piece. Page. Yeah, you're not wrong. It's 27 in the last days, I think. 27. Okay, there's A. Okay. Find C. Do you have 37? C. Okay. So this is before that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 measures before that. Listen. Okay, just play that with me. Okay. All right. This is what you have, ladies. I have you sing that, and then we'll close it up here. Just to give them an idea. G natural. That's it. Okay. Ready? So just listen once. This is what the ladies have. 1. Okay. And I don't mind it. I had a choir at the undergraduate, and the director, this standing it with hands at the sides thing, that wasn't that choir. And they didn't dance, but they weren't afraid to move. That sort of thing, okay? Let's try that. Ladies at 37. Ready? And 1. Okay, now the little person does that once again. Page 5. And this is before F, Charm. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 before F. Okay. Ah, ah, ah. You see that thing? It's 83, measure 83.
How many measures before F?
I'll point it. Yeah, it's hard to read it. Okay. Okay. Anyway, we'll work all that out. Everybody's been great. I really appreciate that. You see how much work there is to do, and the I think that everybody's done enough work today. Okay, and so we'll put it off until next time. Now the next time is July 11th. All right, we tried to avoid national holidays, so it's after the 4th of July. Did you know last night was the original concert date? Yeah, and that I really thought about that all day long. Uh, so who didn't get a? Oh, yeah. Okay, okay. I didn't get a CD. We'll send you one. Um, Nash. What's your first name? That's I forget. Karen. That's right. Okay, Karen. Yeah, I'll send it to you. I remember that when I sent the music. You did get the music though. Okay. I also got 2 copies of the Battle Hymn. Okay. Well, you gotta sing 2 parts. That's all. Okay. Okay. Thanks, Doug. That's fine. Okay, good. All right. So next one's July the 11th, and the one after that is August the 15th. And I don't have September or October with me, but that's the idea. Um, I really appreciate everybody, and there were some that uh, when we sent out the little survey regarding the change of the date to October, and they had some feelings that we should really wait until next year. And I can understand that we have different things going on. Texas, where we are, is a lot different than Pennsylvania. Apparently, they're opening up quite a bit, or at least they're allowed to open up with certain guidelines. But Pennsylvania is more conservative, I guess. But at any rate, so we'll fall within those lines. As a very last uh, option, we would do it in 2021. I would like to think in terms of doing a virtual concert if we have to do it that way, because just the site of Carnegie Hall itself, we can do a lot of things. Doug has taken a lot of photos in the past of the hall itself, and we have those we can intersperse. We can do video, we can do all sorts of things, and we can with lighting and all sorts of ways of doing it. That would be my final option that I would prefer, because there is a time. This is perilous times. This is how I feel about it. So we but I do appreciate everybody doing this, and so those people had about health. Another had a problem, and I can understand that too, about doing it on Sunday. And we want to be sure that we get to tell all the pastors in various churches that we are a parachurch. We are not a church. We are an interdenominational. We are not one denomination. Uh, Judeo-Christian choir is what we are. We've had a wonderful variety, and so we are making sure that we would not be stepping on anybody. As a matter of fact, we would like to involve the churches, the pastors, in some capacity, and if nothing else, just to show them what we have. So we're drawing up a number of talking points that if you would like to talk to a pastor, you wouldn't just have to say this or that. You could actually show them and actually point them to our website and various things. So we have the program we would send along with it so they can look at that. So not a matter of pushing us or anything, but just kind of a clarification who we are and why we're here. And I feel that since we have done them on Sunday before, and since we are a sacred group in that sense, not a church, but uh, we do believe our worldview is certainly very strong, and so we'd like to clarify that with the pastors and with people. So we are addressing all those issues as well. So thank you, everybody. And again, Doug, I wonder if you would lead us in prayer, would you please?
Absolutely.
Okay, good. And we thank you for helping with everything.
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for a chance to come together and fellowship through the Word of God's music. Be with us and guide us and keep us healthy and keep us safe during these crazy times, Lord, and be with those that are in need. We're blessed to be able to get together like this, no matter where we are. Be with us as we get ready for this concert and allow us to shine your light. We love you, Lord, as you love us. In Jesus Christ's name, amen.
Thank you, everybody.